everybody. Welcome into Average Joe's Sports Talk. It's that time of year. This is our very first high school preview video. I'm so excited to bring in my new member of Average Joe's, Jay Hollywood Green, all the way from Etowah, Alabama.
Right.
He's going to be our Etowah guy this year. As always, we have the familiar face of Mr. Reggie Davis right here. Reggie is King Titan around here, man. It's Gadsden City all the way. How lucky are we as fans of high school football in Etowah County to have Etowah and Gadsden City squaring off in we'll call it week 0, the new hip and trendy way to call it. I'm old school, it's week 1 to me. Here's the thing about this game. We're breaking in 2 new coaches, those being Ollie Smith and John Holliday. Both have a tremendous challenge ahead of them. One coming, from Gadsden City, Ollie Smith's been there. He's a familiar face. Everybody knows Ollie Smith is, and I can tell you from being around the program, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot more players out. But with that, the expectations has rose. And he don't have the interim tag on him no more. He's the head coach. On the other side of town, in Etowah, John Holliday steps in, and he's basically stepping in for an undefeated region champ, Etowah Blue Devils. The expectations is there from that. So he's taking over for Knowles, and then he's bringing in his offense. It's a totally new style. There's been some changes in the staff at Etowah. They still got very much still have some heavy hitting, home run hitting players on offense. The question marks for Etowah is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to dive into that in just a minute. But first, I want to start out. Let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. You know the running back from Etowah pretty good, don't you?
Yeah, he's my brother.
This is Trent Davis's brother. All right, Jay. Let's start off with this right here. Familiar face at quarterback, Brady Troop. From what we've seen, he's been to several camps. He's lost the baby fat. He looks lean. He looks bigger. He looks the part. Talk about what you've seen in practice and the progressions of Brady in general.
I think Brady, I think he's going to bust it wide open. I have confidence in him. The community of Etowah has confidence in him. I think he's going to play well and come out there and show out because he's had a lot of doubt coming in because he didn't get to throw the ball a lot last year. He was kind of limited to a lot of things he could do. But this year it's going to be different the way Holiday plays. It's run and gun wide open, and he's going to have to throw the ball. And he's worked extremely hard this offseason, going to camps and working off the field in the weight room, drills and all that stuff. And I think he's going to do well. Confidence, I think his confidence level is a little higher than last year, so I expect him to have a pretty good game.
All right, now let's go into the backfield a little bit. Let's talk about your brother Trent. And now we're going to have Nana in there carrying the ball from the slot receiver and some at tailback. I'll let you dive into that a little bit.
Okay, I think it's the best 1-2 punch in the county. You got Nana with the speed. He's the fastest son of a gun around here. And then you got Trent that's with the power. They're both shifty guys. They both got great vision. Last year they had really good games against Gadsden City last year. And now I expect Gadsden City to have a better game plan for them this year because of what they did last year. But I still the expectations don't change. I still expect both of them to break it out.
Ollie Finch is out wide. Who else are we going to see catching the football for Etowah this year?
I'm not real familiar with his name, so forgive me if you watch this video. But we call him Prime Time. He's a under the radar player. I've seen him in the practice in the last 2 scrimmages. He's really involved. He's the slot. He's plays slot some, then he comes out on the outside some with Ollie. Expect him to get some looks.
And I know Brady, when he was on our show, he actually said the offensive line this year, although they have some new faces, has actually been working their tail off from top to bottom. He named every gentleman on the offensive line and said that he's actually very confident in this offensive line. Said they're gritty, they work hard, they put in their time this offseason. So very excited to see how they do and how they gel. And they're going to come under fire at Titan Stadium Friday. It's going to be a very, very tough environment for them. But this is the games you live for. This is the ones you remember when you're 50, 60 years old.
Exactly.
I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to hand it on over to Reggie right here. Reggie, Gadsden City again. Now, coming into last season, there was a question mark. Like, who's going to be our quarterback? We're going to play 3 quarterback.
Yep.
That's taken care of. It's DeMarcus Macon. He's a dynamic two-way player who was just featured on our show this week.
Yep.
They have a host of running backs. I'm going to let you dive into to that, and I'm going to let you talk about DeMarcus's progressions and what we've seen from him, and his confidence seemed a little bit better when he was on the channel today, correct?
Definitely. I think the first time we saw DeMarcus was in the spring at the at their inter-squad game, and the first thing I noticed, he was throwing the ball a lot better than he was last year, a lot more confidence, and he's done some work in the weight room, and I think that's a huge thing for him to take what he did last year and go to that next level. He's going to have plenty of targets. I did watch them in the 7-on-7 tournament they hosted. They started off a little shaky, but once they got going, they made a run to the semifinals of that tournament, and they lost that game just by a point or two. He's got several targets to throw the ball to, and as far as running backs go, like you said, I mean, they've got a host of running backs that can just go out there and just bust one wide open anytime. I know Orlando Jennings is going to be a starting running back, but there again, I think it's going to be a running back by committee type of thing for Gadsden City.
They got Trey Blunt, who was their breakout player, according to Ollie Smith, and Mr. Byers.
Mr. Byers, yep.
Who they call the bus. Who I personally think will get a lot of carries on this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge, and I think like you said, the community they're ready, they're pumped up. It's gonna be an electric environment at Titan Stadium Friday night.
I want to ask both of you guys this question, and I'll let you start on this and answer first. What have you seen, attitude-wise, effort-wise, a little bit different from John Holliday's Etowah Blue Devils than what we've seen last year? What's different? The main ingredients is different.
What I've seen from Holiday, what I've seen is I've seen the players are just completely bought in. Like they got that killer instinct. Like they're fearless, and some of them players I've known since they were little, stuff like that. But I can just tell what the attitude Holiday's brought to the program. They've bought in. They're dialed in. They're ready to go. He's a little tougher. He reminds me of an old high school coach Etowah used to have, McCorkle, but he's up to the times. And,
he's not that old school.
He's not that old school. One thing I've seen definitely is they're more disciplined. I like the playbook he's brought. We're up to the times on the playbook, and I like the way Holiday coaches. I like his style.
Ollie Smith, same question.
Ollie, first thing I've noticed, like Jake said, with Edward, discipline, and guys seem to be buying in. There's a lot more players out than there has been in the last few years, and definitely that's a big plus. Playing 7A football is having the numbers to run with these 7A teams. These guys, I think they all know Ali, because their parents know Ali, and because of that, I think that they're going to listen to him a lot more, and they're going to relate. And Ali relates to them because he grew up in Gadsden. He's from here. He's a Gadsden guy, so those guys are going to go. If he told them to run through a brick wall, I think they'll all do it. Wow. So, and that's been the biggest thing for them.
All right, now defense wins championships. Defense obviously wins games. I'm going to start with you this time, Reggie. Let's talk about that side of the ball a little bit. A huge loss with DeRicky Wright not going to be in this game, unfortunately. It was noted that he had an injury to his knee, so he's out. But who else have we got out there?
Alan Merrick. Alan Merrick.
Yeah, it kind of starts with him.
If you haven't watched our video of Alan Merrick, go find it and watch it. He is going to be a heavy hitter for Gadsden City. He's committed to UAB. He had several SEC teams. He had several SEC offers. I think his first one came from Tennessee. I think Kentucky and a few others stepped in with offers. But he's going to be a big force in the linebacker side. Quentin
Dinsmore.
Quentin Dinsmore. His last name just left me there for a minute. Quentin Dinsmore. I call him the pick six machine. I mean,
Josh did highlights of him where he would bait people into bait him into throwing
the ball. Yeah, I mean, I remember one specific interception in the 7-on-7 he made. I don't know where he came from. It's like he just dropped out of the sky and picked this ball off. And when he did it, like the whole team just they just erupted on the sideline because it was like, wow, it was just one of those circus type interceptions. And I mean, I can't wait.
He's not your prototypical 5'10".
No.
Compact corner. He's a 6'1", long rangey guy. It can cover a lot of ground and with a lot of quickness.
Yeah.
He knows how to use his hands, his hips. He's definitely a good solid corner.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
They do replace a few guys, but they do have some stars on. Now you guys are going to have a couple of guys going both ways for sure. I know your brother is, and Nana Davis is. Ollie Finch is as well, correct?
Yes.
Could be a few others. I think Hunter Cox is another one they mentioned. Could be playing some linebacker. Talk about that Etowah defense a little bit.
The defense has a lot of new faces, obviously, because last year Etowah had a bunch of heavy hitters. You had 2 All-State linebackers that are in college now. Jamin Graham's Nebraska. Justin Harris is at Vandy. Emil Smith's at Georgia Southern. They're breaking in a lot of new guys. Finch and Nana Davis are the only 2 returning starters coming back. But based off of what I've seen, they look okay. They look okay. It's just that we're going to have to see how it is Friday night to see how they are. But I think they're going to be fine as the year goes on. Trent Davis is a new starter. He's in the secondary. He'll be at safety. Another kid, Logan LaFollette, he's one of the new linebackers. So as the season goes on, I think they'll be fine. I think they're going to do good Friday night. But yeah, like I said, it's.
I think Isaiah Atchison is going to be huge.
Isaiah Atchison, that's another one. Forgot about him
because he actually got in the rotation.
He played some last year.
And he got in the rotation with some what I call some studs up front, man. I mean, he contributed too. And Toby Kemp got in and got some playing time last year, and he looks like he's put on about 20, 25 pounds. The linebacking core from Etowah, I think, is the biggest question mark right now. I don't know who's starting there, but you got between Carter Dingler and Jaron Wright, those are 300 tackles lost off that defense. When you have a defensive front like they did, though, you can't get to that second level to get a hat on a hat with them. So them guys, they did what they're supposed to do last year. It's going to be an interesting game. We're not making picks this year. I think you guys both know where these 2 guys are leaning. Any final thoughts on the game, Jay?
I don't expect a blowout. I know a lot of people are, but I don't expect one. I expect a gritty game to the end because, like I said, Etowah knows they've been counted out. And all I got to say is just come in, buy you a ticket, strap up because
I would advise getting there early.
Get there early.
If you want to sit down, you better get there.
Yeah, get there early if you want to sit down. But like I said, I don't expect a blowout. I expect a close game, and buckle up because it's going down Friday night.
Interesting.
Reggie, what you got?
Speaking on tickets, I don't know if anybody saw on our Facebook page, Gadsden City does have tickets on sale up till Friday at 1 p.m. But going into that, talking about the game, it's going to be a close game, I think, for about 3 quarters. Gadsden City's depth is going to come in and play a factor, and I think they're going to pull away. I'm not saying it's going to be like a 50-14 blowout or anything, but I think they're going to pull away a little bit in the 4th quarter just because of their numbers. They can rotate fresh legs in and out throughout the game. It's going to be an electric environment. It's going to be fun, and
Jay was speaking on a blowout the other way.
I'm sure he was, but
Nah.
I'm still not giving my prediction.
Yeah.
Amongst ourselves, I'm not till Thursday.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to move on to the next game. All right, next game on our docket is going to be Ashville and Ragland. Got my man Hayden Coker in, as always. Hayden's been on the show before. Hayden's a current student at Ashville. He knows Ashville football just as good as anybody you could ever think about knowing it. Now, Hayden, you being in school there, what's the vibe around the school right now about surrounding the football team?
There's a lot of hype coming from the off season and that big game in the spring that they played versus Southside. Big win, 21-0. And now they're talking about that a lot. And now they're really focused on Ragland.
Dialed in.
Yes, sir. They're treating this like another championship game.
Good. It should have been the opening game of the year.
Yeah, big rivalry game too.
I want to talk to David. David, for a second before we get you to dive into the game. David, at this point of the season, you're through spring, you're through the summer 2-a-days. Now you're over in the fall, but now you're a week out, and it's time to prepare. Can you tell everybody what's going on these campuses and what people are preparing and what's going on to get ready for the season opener?
Yeah, for the past 2 weeks, there's probably been fall camp going on. And, the beginning of fall camp is kind of a time where you kind of dial in, you kind of rep, a lot of reps, getting high reps on everything, practicing, just kind of dialing in on all your major plays, your major defenses. Coming this week, you kind of dial into that one team, whatever team you're going for, whether it's a Jamboree game, whether it's a regular season game, you're dialing in to focus on that one opponent. And you're looking at looks on defense, you're focusing on plays on offense, little differences between offenses and who you're playing. So it's time to dial in and get ready for that one team.
The beautiful part about this particular game, this is actually an old school rivalry right here.
Old school, baby.
And they're actually starting the season off with a rivalry. So with that being said, I want you to dive into the game a little bit. What you know coming from the Ashville point of view.
From the Ashville point of view, like the players and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Dylan Harris at quarterback now, who's starting, and then you got Derek Walker, who's another wide receiver that you need to watch out for. He'll be playing in the fall next season at college, so he'll extend his career. And then they just got some good players on defense too. You got Ty Armstrong at linebacker, Nathan Phillips. You got Jaden Colley injured. He tore ligament in his heel, so he'll be out.
I've been saying he's not playing in this one.
No. He was a 4A state champ in 300-meter hurdles.
Ooh,
So yeah.
it's pretty legit track star.
Oh yeah.
So, do you know anything about Ragland? Have you looked in on them yet?
I don't really. I know that they got a quarterback, Elijah Ball, and I can't remember their quarterback's name, but or their running back's name, but I'm not too familiar. I think they got a new head coach, maybe. But yeah, I'm not too fond of Ragland.
I like where your head's at on that, man. So you're going to be coming on the show some more this year, correct?
Yes, sir.
I like it. Well, you're welcome on anytime, brother. I appreciate the update with the Asheville Bulldogs, man.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
All right, that brings us. Next game we're going to touch on is actually a Jamboree game, but it's one of those that's massive. It's state champ versus state champ. That's Morrisville Bible versus the Fyffe Red Devils. Those of you who do not know, we will be doing a breakfast with Benefield, a Fyffe football preview show / review show. Every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. we're going to film it, and it will be dropped by noon that day. Very excited about the people of DeKalb County in general, especially Fyffe. They've opened us with welcome arms. That's the least we can do is to give back to them, is to let Coach have a platform to talk about the players, the game, and the environment. So we're very excited about that. This game right here, I'm going to dive into what Fyffe's going to do a little bit, and then Reggie's going to talk a little bit about Morrisville Bible. So when you talk about Fyffe, we're talking about the 2A state champ from last year. Here's the thing. They did lose Peyton Stone or Jake Stone, Peyton Anderson, obviously, who's at Auburn. They lost some heavy hitters, but I've witnessed with my own 2 eyes these younger guys in the weight room and growing and getting better and working their tails off all summer. I've been in and out of practices. I was at practice today with Fyffe, actually. It's just amazing to see, and Benefield will be the first one to tell you, his coaching staff, himself, even the town, how they get behind these guys and to watch these other guys below them develop. Kyle Dukes is one. Zach Pyron, the quarterback, has gained 20 pounds. He's cut 2/10 off his 40. He was a 4'8" guy. Now he's a 4'6" guy. He's about 6'1" and is about 205 pounds right now going into this season. He's only a sophomore. I mean, it's insane. Carrying the ball this year, they're going to have a host of running backs. Rowell, they call him Ike. Ike is a 4'4", 4'5" guy. He can fly. Flat-out speedster. Malachi Mize is a familiar face around there. He's very good defensively, also very fast, shifty running back. And when they go to pound you, it's going to be Kyle Dukes. Kyle Dukes will put you in the mind frame of sort of like a Darian Meads, about 5'10", 200-something pounds, and just load. And he's going to be very hard to bring down. You know, and I'm gonna let David talk about this right now. When you think Fyffe, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Championships.
And how do they get there? Running the football,
Yeah.
defense. From what you've known from Fyffe over the years, just from an outside, you're a coach, and I know you have a tremendous amount of respect for the program. Talk about what your perception of Fyffe and around the state, how people view Fyffe.
When you think of Fyffe, first thing you think of is hard nosed. I mean, you know they're going to come at you. You know that whether they may not out athlete you, they may not. In a lot of cases, they may be bigger than you, they may not be bigger than you, but they're going to run you over one way or another.
Yeah, and speaking of running you over, their line is massive. You got Mr. Caleb Lyles there, Levi Carroll. These dudes are huge. I mean, big, strong. You got to look at linemen around the state. A lot of guys are, they look like, big old guys. Some of them's got bellies hanging over there. Not these guys. These guys are chiseled down. We watched Caleb Lyles' footwork, his hand speed. I mean, I watched him bench. He had like 285, 290 on the square, on the incline on the square bar. The new square bars is just tossing like it wasn't nothing. And I was like, man, these dudes are monsters up here. Going into this game though, and Mars Hill Bible is taking this like it is the Super Bowl. They're printing T-shirts up. They're telling everybody to pack the place out. They're looking at Fyffe as this is the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This is it. I mean, this is a win. And I'm gonna let Reggie touch in on them a little bit.
Yeah. In my research about Mars Hill, and this is, I guess, the most interesting thing that I could find. They just started their program up in 2014, and 2018 they're state champions. And just looking at their games last year, they won. They beat everybody pretty bad, and they scored a total of 731 points in 15 games last year.
How much?
731. 15 games, and they gave up 178.
Jeez.
On average, they were beating people 49-12 on average. Wow. And they had one regular season loss to Class 4A Brooks, which is up in Florence. They're a 4A school, 4A playoff team at that. They lost to them by 1 point, 36-35.
Wow.
And another interesting thing I came across, they had 4 guys to make the All-State team for 1A. And one of those guys was a sophomore, and I'm guessing it's the coach's son, Peyton Higgins. He's a sophomore. He was a sophomore athlete last year. So Coach Darryl Higgins has really done a phenomenal job in going into his 5th season at Mars Hill. So, I mean,
I can tell you this: the people who's traveling to the game from Fyffe, it'll be worth the drive.
It'll be worth the drive. I think the whole town of Fyffe is going to end up in Mars Hill.
Well, I'm telling you, Coach Benefield said this to us the spring game. He said, "Hey, we ain't won a warm up in 20 years around Fyffe," but he said, "Too bad they don't give out trophies for warm ups." So, but the interesting part about that is, and Coach Benefield said this, he said, "For one half of football, give it everything we got."
Yeah.
So when they go up there, they're going to go head to head. This is one of those games, though, and I want you to talk about this, Dave. Jamboree is the last thing you want someone to get hurt. Talk about your mentality going into a jamboree.
Yeah,
like
well, and I'm interested in hearing y'all talk about the mentality these coaches are talking about. 'Cause usually a jamboree game, you're never going to say you're going into a game to lose. But in a jamboree game, generally your main focus is to focus on yourself. Mm-hmm. Your main focus is to get everything right for your team. Mm-hmm. And you're not necessarily as worried about the result as normal as you are just watching your guys and seeing how they react with live bullets.
Right.
And in this game, it sounds like obviously when you got 2 powerhouses like this, the mentality changes and all of a sudden it becomes a little bit more competitive.
Yeah.
So, but in a jamboree game, you just want to come out unscathed. You want to come out with your starting 22 and the backups, everybody. You want to come out with everybody healthy, everybody feeling better about where they're at after that game. That's the main thing, is you want everybody's confidence to shoot up when they get chances to go out there and run through plays that we've just been running against ourselves. And when you go out and see it going against somebody else, you want to see that it still works and it still looks the same and those guys still react the same way.
I got a question. Speaking on that, at a smaller school like that, like a 1A or 2A school, going into this jamboree, as far as subbing, how do you handle that?
A lot of times in a jamboree game, it's going to be set up for you, and I don't know what the specifics are in this.
On this one, he said live, everything live until halftime, and then they're going to agree to go to to the benches.
Yeah, a lot of
after
times
half.
that's how it happens. You'll go first half, you got varsity, everybody varsity, and you're trying to get your ones and twos in there and getting them reps. And then after that, you may go JV and younger guys after that.
Okay.
But usually in the beginning, you're going to go, and sometimes I'll do it opposite. Sometimes I'll do JV first and then varsity. But usually it's going to be a half and a half. One half is straight ones, and you may sub in a little bit, but you reserve those younger guys for the second half.
Okay.
Yeah, so the printing T-shirts and stuff like that, though, I got a feeling, I know Benefield, I got a feeling he's not just going to go up there to hang out in Florence.
No, he's not. I mean, I think they're having some kind of dinner too, and they invited the Fyffe fans to join them with it, and I'm like,
They did.
yeah. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
I love it. So we're going to move on, talk about another game right here. We're going to dive into the Lincoln Southside game. We don't have our official Southside guy locked in with us today. Hopefully we got him locked in.
Like he had to work tonight.
He had to work tonight. Ethan Stevenson hopefully is going to be our guy this year. Reggie and I was at this game last year, and I tell you, Lincoln had some athletes, and they looked like they could move the ball, and Southside had trouble containing them last year.
Yeah.
I think Southside's going to be very, very good defensively this year.
Mm-hmm.
They've got 3 or 4 complete studs on that defense, and they got them in every level of the defense.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so that's always a positive. And I've heard through the grapevine, I don't know if this is true, they're going to take Mr. Chance Moon's hand out of the dirt and put him at linebacker. So I'd rather him go ahead and hit me with his hand in the dirt than a full head of steam. I'm telling you that. I know you was on the sidelines last year for Coosa, but what do you know about these two teams?
Well, what you just said about Lincoln's got athletes everywhere. I mean, Lincoln, as long back as I can remember, has had guys that will just run past you, and that's been the key for them. With Southside, they've got a returning quarterback that I've heard a lot of good things about. I know they've got a lineman or two that may be getting some looks, that they may be have a future in football. The offense Southside runs is a type of offense where you don't necessarily have to be the best athletes on your side. You can run that offense and you can get through with getting 5-6 yards a pop and moving the ball down the field. And as you said, with their defense being so stout, I think it lines up to be a good matchup.
I think so too. And man, losing Cap Mockles, huge.
That's gonna be a huge loss for Southside. But I think with Michael Rich at quarterback, I've heard a lot of good things about him. His dad has reached out to us on Twitter, shared some of his videos, and I mean, I think he may be their X factor this year. I think people are going to be looking for Southside to be Southside and just pound the ball, but I think they're going to toss the ball around a little bit more this year. And with Chance Moon being that linebacker, and some of those guys they got on defense, I think they're going to slow Lincoln down some because like last year Lincoln was they were just all over the field, and Southside couldn't stop them. But a couple of good plays. Southside they stayed in the game. They made some plays when they needed to, and they stayed in the game and wasn't a complete blowout. But I think this year is going to be a little bit different.
I think you're right. It's going to be different. Because this one's at Southside.
It's at Southside, yeah. Barney Hood can get pretty rowdy.
Well, they call them the Thunder House.
The Thunder House student section,
it.
yep.
All right, we're going to move on right here and touch on Hokes Bluff. Although it'd be a Jamboree game, it's an interesting Jamboree game because they're going to play a half with Pleasant Valley and then a half with Alexandria. So you're looking at 2 totally different ends of the spectrum, 2 Calhoun County teams. No disrespect to either team, but a little bit different division that those 2 teams play in. Be interested to see how many times that Darian Meads would touch the ball in this. I know he's going to get some reps. I know that because we were at practice.
Yep.
And he was touching it a ton at practice. Now, Coach Rob, we actually had the privilege to sit down and talk with Coach Rob. Absolute honor. You guys who have seen the video, thank you, who've watched. Coach Rob. You know what he's all about. Coach Rob's another one like Benefield. I can't just see him going down there to hang out. Talk to me, man. Tell me, Dave.
I've coached in games against Coach Rob, and I don't know him that well personally, but I know the type of coach he is. And, I know Coach Rob does what he does. He's been doing it for, 25, 30 years, and not much is going to change. So, the way he runs the team is the way he runs the team. And, that's what I've always respected about Hokes Bluff. There's no surprise factor. You know what Hokes Bluff's going to do. You know what they've done. You've seen them on film, and if you saw them in film 10 years ago, you know what they're doing today. But the difference is you can't stop it. People can't stop it, and there's no reason to change if you can't stop it.
Exactly.
So.
Watch the video with Coach Rob. He actually will tell you that. And now let me say this. This ain't the same Pleasant Valley team that we knew like when we were all growing up.
No.
It's a pretty decent football team, and they've got some size to them. I've actually seen some video. A friend of mine's kid plays out there. Neither one of these two teams, Alexandria obviously is not a pushover, never has been. Coach Ginn's actually turned them around a little bit. So this is going to be very interesting. I just want to know, again, with the Jamboree, just like he said a minute ago, get everybody healthy, get a better feeling from where you're at as a football team. Like you said, when the bullets start flying and alive, and somebody else, you trading paint with somebody else of a different team. Very interesting to see how this goes. I don't know how much to buy into it, but it is what it is. We're going to move right on to Collinsville versus Plainview right now. Interesting matchup because the two DeKalb County teams. Plainview is actually 3A, Collinsville 2A. Collinsville coming off arguably their best season in years and years. Expectations couldn't be any higher for Collinsville. 9-1. I don't know how to say it. Their expectations is through the roof. They're probably averaging a little over 300 pounds up front on their offensive line, and in 2A football, that is
That's
insane.
massive, yeah.
Coach Willingham, shout out to him. He's taken average Joes in. He's been nothing but courteous to us. We came in and did a 100-year video of Collinsville, which was absolutely dynamic. I mean, we sat in with 4 legendary guys from Collinsville, and one of those being Coach Willingham. Teddy Helms is another. We learned more about Collinsville football. You people don't even know this. Why Jacksonville State's colors are red and white because Collinsville. Now, a lot of people don't know that. We found that out in that video. True story. Watch the video. They tell you the whole story behind it. Now, they have a quarterback.
Yep.
I want to let you talk about this young man a little bit. Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones. I didn't get to make the trip to Collinsville, but I did watch the video, and I watched his highlights, and I was, for a 2A school, I was impressed. And, I mean, if he was at a 4A, 5A, 6A school, it would be scary. I would love to have him in my team at a bigger school. He's going to Navy. He's where he's going to be playing his college ball.
He's leaning.
Leaning. That's why I got twisted there. I didn't mean to say he's going to Navy, but he's leaning.
Away.
Yeah, he's leaning towards Navy. But I watched that video with him, and I mean, he's a super, super nice kid. Learned some things about him I would have never guessed.
The guy is a turkey hunting machine.
Yeah, he's a turkey hunting machine.
He's a turkey calling machine. To Reggie's point, the guy's unbelievable. Caleb Jones is his name. Please watch the video of Caleb Jones.
Yep.
Let's put it this way. For Navy to even recruit you, you got to talk about character. You know all about the Naval Academy. They just don't hand out scholarships.
No, you've got to prove a lot more on the field.
You better believe it, man.
Collinsville, once again, to have a returning quarterback like that, that's got to be such a confidence booster to have a kid in there that knows what's going on, the kid that you can rely on. He's already played a year at least, and you know that he's already going to be in the places he needs to be. That's a big help when you've got a returning quarterback like that. You got 10 other spots on offense, but that quarterback's the one that can tell everybody else what to do. If he knows what to do, it's going to give everybody a boost of confidence.
He is the trigger man. His highlights, Josh put this highlight reel together, and he called me like after about an hour and a half. He's like, I don't know what to put on here. He's like, I'm going through highlight after highlight after highlight. Like I don't know what to put on here. But yeah, Plainview was 3-8 last year. They're looking to turn the corner. They've gotten a little bit better. Know their principal really well. Mr. Richards, I don't know. I don't know too much about Plainview, but I do know they're going to have more players than Collinsville. They're going to Collinsville. They're going to Plainview, so they got the home field advantage. This could get a little interesting because Plainview's another team that can surprise you. All the Pruitts are from there. Jeremy Pruitt, Dale Pruitt, they're all from there.
Yeah,
so
they have a very rich tradition.
They have a rich tradition. It's going to be very interesting. We're going to move on to the next game right now. All right. we'll move on right here. We got a Thursday night game that we're all excited about. It's actually a rivalry here in the county. Coosa versus Westbrook. This is a pretty big rivalry. To start off with, again, we got two new coaches. Coach Knowles has moved over to Westbrook from Etowah. Rod Cates is taking over at Coosa. My man David was on staff last year at Coosa. He's going to talk about the rivalry a little bit.
Yeah, it's two schools that are miles apart from each other. They're right down the creek from each other, and one of the first things we heard about getting there was when are we going to play Westbrook. That was something those people over there wanted, and they renewed the rivalry last year, and I think it's a great thing for both schools. It's a good thing for Etowah County. You've got so many schools in this county that are close to each other, and I always say the more of them can play each other, the better.
Absolutely.
And it's a good thing for both schools, and they're both Christian schools. They got a lot alike. So the fact that they're getting this rivalry started back, and I hope it continues from this point on.
And that those both being private schools, both being Christian schools, both being right down the road from each other, there's no reason they shouldn't play. Now that being said, Coosa's got some playmakers coming back. Definitely have some playmakers coming back on offense with Evan Delp. I mean, it starts with Evan Delp. I guess you'd have to say tremendous athlete. The first time Evan Delp got on our radar was last year when we featured Dartavius Britton and Caleb Lipskin as Player of the Week last week. We hadn't got to go out to a Coosa game, and but we seen highlights of Evan Dale as we was checking those other two guys out, and I was like, who in the world is this guy? Dude looks like he's got about a 40-inch vertical with about like he's 6'2", playing receiver. Well, then we went over to the Christmas Classic last year, and I told when we actually did a one-on-one with Evan Delp, and we talked to him, and I told him, the players from Gadsden City and the players from Etowah were like wanting to sit down at the Christmas Classic basketball tournament and watch him play basketball, which I thought was like a testament to him. I was like, hey, they're wanting to watch this guy, this 1A school. They were all like, man, he's got a silky smooth game. Well, he went into a camp in the off season at JSU, and they offered him on the spot. He's still got another year of high school to go after this one.
I think Nick Saban has got his eye on him as well.
And that's amazing. Then you have a 1,600-something yard returning rusher in Dartavius Britt. Don't let his size fool you, man. He can go. Hey, better tell him.
Yeah, he's pretty quick.
When I first seen him, I was like, are we sure this is?
Yeah.
And then I watched his highlights. I said, yeah, we're sure. He's a real good Holyfield. Now, we did lose Caleb Lipskin at quarterback, but Trevor Horn has stepped in. He actually had a little bit of game time last year. He knows how to play quarterback. He's got a little bit of experience under his belt, and now you got Mr. Delp out there to throw to. So it's going to be they're going to be ready. I'm going to let you talk about Westbrook a little bit, and I know John Reese Ballou. Who, if you haven't seen his video with us, please check that out. But if you haven't seen this man in the weight room, you might want to check that out too. I don't know what it was, like 290 or something. He clean and jerked, or it's insane.
It's on our Twitter page somewhere. Him lifting in the weight room. Can't find it on ours. Go to Westbrook's Twitter page. John Reese he's a great kid. I enjoyed talking to him the night he was here. Tremendous athlete. I think he's going to line up in several positions for Westbrook this year.
He's actually going to run the ball. They're going to have him at safety.
I
think he might be like a Swiss Army knife-ish.
That's what it sounds like. And I think he's kind of quiet on as far as his schools are going, but he's a very, very, very great athlete, and I think he's going to play a huge part in Westbrook's success this year.
And John Reese finished second at the Rivals camp too, and the point system they had set up, which is amazing. Out of hundreds of players. That's unbelievable. He also is like a 30-something on his ACT.
I think it was 31, 32, something like that.
You pretty much name your college at that point.
That's it.
I know several. Actually has full ride offers already in Division I schools. With Coach Knowles coming over there, though, you know a little bit about Coach Knowles. I mean, he's a disciplined guy, great man of character.
Absolutely.
Couldn't have a better fit at Westbrook than
absolutely. I know that was a job that he was interested in, and I think he's a good fit over there. He's the type of guy that loves those kids, and he's going to work on them. He's a good fit at Westbrook because going to a Christian school, which is not to say that they can't do this in public school, but in Christian school, you can work more on the stuff off the field. It's more
Beautiful.
open to that, and we're
It's
fortunate
right in
to
his
live.
wheelhouse.
Yeah, I was about to say we're fortunate to live in the state of Alabama where you can do that pretty much anywhere. But at a Christian school, this wide open. You can do what you want to on the field and off the field as far as talking about your faith and whatnot. And I think that's a fantastic thing. And
Absolutely.
for him to go over there and be able to work with those kids, it's going to be a good fit.
And on this channel, we love Jesus, and we're going to talk about loving Jesus. If that offends you, I apologize.
Yeah.
You're welcome to turn the channel if you'd like. But we love you. Keep watching.
Yeah.
We'll sit down after the camera goes off, and we'll talk about your views. No problem doing that, man. I think that's about it. Since we're not picking scores on that one, we're going to move on to our next game now. All right, so now we're going to move on to Hoover and who's this? Central
Phoenix.
Paper?
Central Phoenix, 7A state champs.
From Arizona?
Nope. Sand City of the South.
Central
Phoenix.
Phenix.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of them.
Well, it ain't got an O in it. They
Central
left the O out.
Phoenix. Oh, okay.
Phoenix City,
Anyway,
Alabama.
so who is Central Phoenix? Who is
They
that?
won the 7A state championship last year.
Oh, obviously. Hoover didn't go, so that's one.
Yeah, well, they destroyed the team that beat Hoover. So
Hoover was in a torrential downpour is the only reason they lost.
look, and nothing against Hoover. I love Hoover. Coach Niblett, great guy.
Speaking of man of character,
Yes,
I mean, don't get much more character than that. Go ahead.
but I just, and this is going to be. I never thought I would say these words, but I think there's too much talent on the other side of the ball.
What with Central? Who is it?
Central Phoenix.
Central Phoenix. Oh, so Central Phoenix has too much talent for Hoover.
Yeah, I mean they've got 6 Division I players right now.
Good. They're gonna need them. Who's their coach? Who's the X Factor?
I just looked that up.
That's the X Factor. I'll tell you who the coach for Hoover is. It's Josh Niblett.
Yeah, I know Coach Niblett.
There's only one person, you should know him. He's been on our channel before, man. There's only one person in the state that can look Danny Horn in his eye with 7 rings. That's Joshua Niblett.
That's true.
I think Jamie Dubose is the coach at Central Phoenix City.
Dubose. Is he any kin to that guy from
I
Alabama?
don't think he might be. I don't know. I know he's coached up in this area some.
Well, let me ask you a question. You're biased on this game right here.
No, Reggie.
I'm riding that Phoenix City train. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So let me ask anybody. David's behind the camera, but David, please comment on this. You can stand right there. Just comment on this. Do you not think this is a perfect scenario for Hoover? For once, Hoover gets to play that we're the underdog. We don't have a chance.
Yeah, you got somebody in state that all of a sudden
In
now
state,
people are talking about,
which is the key.
Not
This ain't
IMG,
IMG.
yeah.
This is somebody in the state of Alabama telling Hoover that they're not good enough to compete.
Yeah, you got that chip on the shoulder. This is your Nick Saban situation right here.
Beautiful.
Okay. We can go with that. Hoover might win this game Saturday, but they will meet again in the 7A state championship.
Nah.
No? Don't. Who's going
7A state championship's going through Ollie Smith and company, bud.
Hey, I'm with that. I'm with that.
Stop me if I'm wrong.
Well, if that's the case, then that means Hoover's not going to the 7A state championship.
So be it.
Okay, all right.
Now I think Ollie's gonna make some noise now.
Yeah.
I ain't joking about that.
Well, Gadsden City's going to shock some people this year. I think they're going to turn some heads, and so yeah.
Go ahead.
Coach Niblett's a great coach. He's had all summer, and you better believe he's in those boys' heads, telling them what I'm saying and what other talking heads are saying. And he may win this game, but that'll be with a whole summer of preparation time.
Mm-hmm.
If they see each other in the playoffs, it'll be about a week's worth of preparation time. And I just think they're too talented. I mean, you've got Clemson commits, Auburn commits, Kentucky commits. They've got a pro-style quarterback, Tucker Melton, who is verbally committed to Bowling Green.
Bowling Green, yeah.
So
Here's my honest take on the last. It would have been last year's game and this year's game both. Ashford's development. he's the type of dynamic guy that's going to extend plays and make more plays. Now, losing George Pickens, and Ray Charles could see that's a huge loss. Losing Larry McCammons is a huge loss. And I told y'all this last year.
Yeah.
Had they played them in that championship game, no way they got beat like Thompson did. Thompson cannot run the ball.
As a matter of fact, McCammons, we were there. We were on sidelines for the IMG game, and McCammons busted off 4 big runs.
98 yards
IMG.
and 4 touches versus IMG.
And he got hurt. And I think
He wasn't the highest rated running back in that game, though, from Hoover.
I'm not going to say that
You can
Hoover.
believe that or not.
I'm not going to say Hoover wins that game, but it would have been a lot closer.
Oh, yeah, a lot closer. Now, I'm not making up predictions, but I'm saying you could not script a better scenario for Josh Niblett.
Yeah, I mean, this is playing right into that underdog. You know, us
When does
against
he
the
get
world.
this chance?
Never. Maybe against IMG. That's once a year.
That's once a year. But an in-state, when does he get this chance?
It's been a long time.
Yeah. So hard to say. I'm not going to say who's going to win this game, but whoever wins this game, when they meet again in the state championship, if they meet again, whoever wins will not win that game. It's going to be like
Flip-flop.
it's going to be like Hoover and Thompson has been in the last couple of years.
I just think he's going to have them dudes looking for blood.
Because you
telling
said
you.
a week's worth of preparation for the state championship. It's going to be 2 weeks because 7A they give
Yeah,
an extra
that's
week
true,
off.
yeah.
So
It's going to be interesting.
it's going to be an interesting season in 7A football.
Guys, we're gonna shut this video down, I believe.
This is week 0, and then we're talking.
We're already got a 40-minute video out here.
We're talking.
We're going to tighten these up. This is our first week.
Central Phenix, Hoover, Etowah, Gadsden City.
I mean, yeah, you can't get any bigger than this.
Yeah, this is major. So we're going to shut this one down, guys. We will be back up and running next week on time. We're running a little bit late this week due to some other stuff that we had to film. But as always, these videos will be dropped on Tuesday or Monday night late. So we'll be filming those Monday. Guys, thank you for watching. This is Average Joe Sports Talk. We're out.